you don't really need to do much coding, but it's like, it's just like, you guys could go through like your own WordPress like website and stuff. So then it would be good to have like your laptop out.
Okay, it's okay.
Right. Everyone good to go?
Yeah.
All right. Thank you guys for coming out today for the GraphTech workshop. We will be going over an introduction to WordPress. So first things first, why web development? Does anyone want some input on this? All right.
Sure, yeah.
Sure, okay. So the world is becoming increasingly interconnected, so this is why it's very important to have good websites, because of so many communication mediums such as Facebook, email, Twitter. Many of these things are heavily web-based. So interconnection is a very important scheme for this. The second reason is that displaying information. So websites consist of various web pages which are intended to display text or other information to the client. So this is why it's very important to have websites in order to display information about what you're trying to convey, such as the Circle K website, you're showing events, you're showing who the members are, the family system, mentorship, things like that. Other websites display things like Amazon, like you're displaying items for sale. Facebook, your newsfeed, all your friends' status updates, etc. Additionally, marketing and branding is very important for websites. This is a good way to really show clients like what your product or organization is focused on. So this is where a good website can really make a difference in terms of marketing and branding.
But like, I don't know, we might even do it next year.
Websites are critical in any application. Being able to jump headfirst into web development is a very important skill to have in today's society. So there are two major tools for web development. The old traditional way was using the good old HTML, CSS, JavaScript. It's still commonly used today, but like there are many other tools nowadays that make it a lot easier to develop quality websites without necessarily having to go into too much technical detail. And this is where you have website builders such as WordPress, which we're going to go through today, Weebly, and Squarespace. It's kind of hard to see, but this is supposed to be red in order to emphasize that we're going through this particular website builder. So why WordPress? It's a very quick setup because it's literally just a button click away from creating a good starter website where you can make a lot of changes right away. It's very beginner friendly because you don't necessarily have to know too much technical detail about web development such as PHP because it provides a lot of useful plugins and drag and drop features that makes it easy to get started right away. It's pretty widespread. I've read reports that that's used for about a quarter of most websites, so it's about 25%, give or take a few percentage points, but it's pretty widespread. Additionally, there's great customer support because they have a good forum and active community of WordPress developers, so it's easy to get help via online forums there. Yeah, and they also have very adaptable plugins. So there are various users who create their own plugins for WordPress, and by simply installing these plugins, you get a lot of really useful features like out of the box. So this makes it pretty quick to develop new features on WordPress without having to write it all on your own, so you can reuse a lot of components. So, in case you guys didn't know, UCLA Circle K uses WordPress for their main website. So if you go to the link here, that's the Circle K website, and this allows members to more easily add events and content without having to know the inner intricacies of the website itself. So normally, if you were to design your own website from scratch, you would have to develop like ways for people to add content. So if you didn't necessarily have knowledge of HTML, CSS, or JavaScript, it wouldn't be that easy to figure out how to add content. But WordPress abstracts away a lot of the nitty-gritty stuff and provides an easier interface to add new events, for example. If we were to, I'll show you a bit later, but if we were to go to the page itself, you would see that you simply just click edit a page, and then you could add events that way. So it's a lot easier than having to like go through the actual web page itself. Another thing is, there's a saying in engineering, or software engineering in particular, of don't reinvent the wheel. So quality websites can be handed down to new owners as long as it is well documented. So if something has been built before, there's really no need to build something completely from scratch. You could build on top of things and make improvements, and that should be emphasized. Because if it's already there in the first place, then you simply just make improvements to it. So yeah, there's no need to rebuild something that is functional. You just need to improve the product itself and make it better. And the last thing is UI UX, and this stands for user interface and user experience. And this is a very important concept for any website development. So navigating a website should be intuitive to the user, and this makes it a lot more likely for your users to come back and use the website more often. And WordPress makes it easy to customize the user interface and user experience to fit the user's needs. So most of the websites you use have good user experience because like they want you to come back to it. So for example, there's a lot of good examples, like let's say Twitter or Facebook. Like it's very intuitive to make changes to the like updating your status updates or adding photos. Like it's not overly complicated. You don't have to go through like a big instruction manual. So ideally, the more intuitive it is for you to develop your website for the user, the more likely they'll come back. All right, so let's get started. To build a website, let's go to this link, https wordpress.com, and let's click create a website and get started. So if you guys want to get started on that, I'll set this up. Sorry, guys. Are you guys able to get it? Like, what Wi-Fi are you using? Oh, yeah.
Secure as. Yeah. Let me try this one.
Wordpress, right?
I use secure as.
Oh, secure as.
Yeah. Any of them should work though.
It's weird.
No, I'm wrong.
The ball. Oh, check.
Oh.
Check. There's check.
Yeah.
Check.
Oh, nice.
I can't see with the blue screen.
Sorry. Is there a way to change it?
It's just the cable. I mean, you can plug in. You do it on this wall if you plug into the projector. It should go.
Should we just do that? I mean, once we get to the actual stuff, like it shouldn't be as bad. But why is it allowing me?
Wait, what the heck? Oh, I got the video.
There we go. Alright, so Can you see this, Albert?
Yes.
All right. So once you're on this page, we simply go to create website, and this will give you a list of instructions you need to follow in order to set up your WordPress account. So is everyone on this page? All right, cool. So it'll ask you first what your blog or website is about. You could technically put anything. Let's put, in this case, technology, for example. Could be anything you want. And then the second step will be what you want your homepage to look like. Let's say, for example, a welcome page for your site, because usually you want your first page to be informative of what your website is about. So let's create a welcome page here. And you can pick from any of these templates to choose from. So feel free to pick whatever you want. They all look pretty nice, so let's try this one, I guess. And then the fourth step is finding a domain name for your website. This could be anything. It could be like your name, whatever your organization is. Let's say, since uclacki.org is already taken, we could create like another UCLA Circle K or something. Is that open? Yeah, so you can have UCLA Circle K WordPress.com. So by default, you'll have a .wordpress.com because the other ones are paid options. So if you want just like a free account, then you'll just start off with this one. Otherwise, you'll have to upgrade. And then those are like paid purchase plans. So just for a tutorial, we don't necessarily want to start off with that. So we'll just pick WordPress.com. Yeah, and then let's select free because we don't need all these features right now. And then the last step is setting up your email to link to it. So in this case, I'll just do Circle KY. You could, this is not available. Right, I'll use my edu for this. Yeah, so this is just to verify your authentication. So I'll just log into my account. Sorry. Sorry, I need to resend it actually. Wait, did it go through? Cool, it did go through. Okay. So when you first start off, it should take you to something like this that will give you a walkthrough of how to customize your website. So for now, we could just sort of skip these, but on the side, as you saw, that was just like a sidebar of customizable options. So you could do things like editing the page from there, setting up like background stuff, and you could access it by clicking on my site at the top left over there. So then we'll get to that a bit later. Let's first start off by changing the title of your top bar. Let's edit this. It'll take you to a site customizer. So, how are you guys doing so far? Everything good?
Yeah.
Cool. All right. So the nice thing about WordPress is that it provides a lot of easy to use interface to edit options. Like you don't necessarily need to change like a lot of code as we said earlier. So you simply click on the pencil icons in order to edit the page over here. So you could change your site identity. Let's say you say circle, okay, GraphTech, tagline, GraphTech is cool.
Make America great.
Make GraphTech great. Boom. And then to save all your changes, you simply just click the blue Save and Publish button at the top. So this is pretty common throughout like a lot of WordPress themes. Yeah, they provide a pretty simple interface to change your site's identity and stuff like that. We got this. So over here. Oh, the other nice thing is you could check your resolution on various devices, like just like on a normal computer itself, or you could check on a tablet, such as like your iPad or Galaxy, or you could check on a phone for various resolutions. So this is a nice way to see like if your site conforms to a lot of graphical standards of today. If it's mobile friendly, this is just a good way to check as well. So let's go back. Yeah, so the nice thing is, yeah, it's pretty straightforward to edit a lot of these options. So if you want to just edit it like a short little blurb at the top, you could just change it right here. Welcome to GraphTech committee. Yeah, so this is pretty much what you see here. You could. Oh, this one I need to confirm my address. So. Sorry about this. It's because I don't think I sent it to the right email. So let me try to resend it. Yeah, sorry, I'm gonna re-register because I sent it to the wrong one. Just go through this again. Technology. There we go. Yeah, so it's very important to get that first email authentication. Otherwise, you can't make some of the changes to it. Yeah, so this seems a little bit different. It's like a blog post, but the essential idea is basically the same. Like you have a edit button over here where you can make changes directly to your blog. So let's say GraphTech workshop, for example, on WordPress. Yeah, so then basically you can make the same changes as before. You'll just simply hit the edit button that we saw earlier, and then we'll just update it directly here. Cool, okay. So if you want to view the post from the user's perspective, it provides a very nice interface up here. Let's view the post in this button on the top right. Nice, yeah, so it shows it from the context of how a user would look at this. So you also have the option to make changes as well over here. You could change the site title by clicking over here. Right, yeah, so there's some things you could edit, yeah, like edit as normals over here. There's some other cool features you could do as well, like adding people. You could invite, like, for example, since this is a blog website, you could essentially add other friends that use WordPress over here. So what the Circle K website has is a bunch of permissions and roles. So, for example, the technology chair would have an administrative role. So they have a lot more permission to modify and edit content. For example, someone on A board or E board would have a slightly lower role. They still have permission to edit content, but they can't really like change other things like adding users, etc. So this is very similar to the format of the actual Circle K website itself. So the Circle K website uses the Avada theme. So if you go to this appearance tab on the left, you could customize your themes over here. So then you could change to any of these other ones if you want. We would have to purchase these, so we're probably not going to do that for this example. But if you wanted to get like a new theme, you could just go to the appearance tab on the side and change themes directly from here. So here's here's a way you could customize like various features, like we did earlier regarding the site title. So this is what you would see at the top. Like you would put UCLA Circle K or UCLA Circle K GraphTech, for example. We could change it directly through here. Yeah, we would just save the changes and publish at the top left as before. Another important thing is widgets. These are parts of the web page itself that consists of various components. So the Circle K website, if we navigate to that, it has a lot of, it's basically consisting of various widgets on the page, especially the front page. You'll see things like on the side saying like when the next meeting is, this needs to be updated, upcoming events, statistics on how much fundraising we have, total hours, club goals, etc. These are all widgets on the page. So we'll get to this a bit later. But if we go back to the example website itself, we could check the widgets we could put on the page. So this is on the right side. These are basically the widgets you currently have. So you could modify like the search. You could put in a title like Circle K search bar. Save this, and if you go back to your website itself, you can see the actual content there. So manage with live preview will basically show you how it looks. So this probably didn't change anything because it's just a search bar. But if we add something in the footer, our location, Westwood, UCLA, for example. This part will change at the bottom. Boom. So then, yeah, we've basically changed this part. So this is basically what a lot of like your widgets do by themselves. Like, it provides a lot of easy to change customizability. So at the bottom, you don't necessarily, yeah, like as before, we don't necessarily have to like write a whole lot of code at all. In fact, you don't need to write any code at all for these parts because it's simply drag and drop for the most part. You could add in new widgets themselves like on the side. So what do we want to do? We could add a calendar, stick that there. Where'd the calendar go? We could add the calendar as part of the footer. It's probably an unusual choice, but just more of a proof of concept for now. So let's say UCLA calendar. Basically, the main premise of this is to show that it's pretty easy to drag and drop features and see the changes right away. There we go. So like, what I just did was I had a calendar widget on the left side as one of the provided features, and by simply dragging and dropping to footer 1, which corresponds to this region, you could add in widely usable functionality without having to do a whole lot. This makes it pretty easy to check content and figure out, November 11th tomorrow, and just like adding new information pretty easily. So there's a wide variety of options here. You can have like just basic text, upcoming events. This is what we use on the Circle K page itself. You can add Instagram. So this is what we have for our social media. Contact info. Facebook page plugins. Yeah, this provides like a lot of widespread functionality that you don't need to know like too much of the inner details about. So it just abstracts away a lot of the nitty gritty and makes it a lot easier to make changes to your site directly from the sidebar widgets option. Next up is menus. This is what you see essentially at the top part of it. So on the Circle K website, you have things like home, you have contact info, contact us, you have an about us page, events, shop, members, resources, and my account. Basically, what you see in menus corresponds to all this information. So if we go to the example page over here, you'll see like the menu consists of these 4 options. So this is basically where you handle all of this. So if you want to create a new page, for example, you could add things to the menu. Let's see. Let's add a post to the menu. So the short little blog post that I made, this is proof of concept. If you go to posts, this is usually what we do on events. Like if we add an attachment like a membership roster form or like signing up to be like a mentee. This is normally what you would do. You would link the attachment itself, upload it, and then at the top of the menu structure, you would drag and drop this in here. So I basically just added a GraphTech workshop on WordPress. So if we save this and go back to here, you'll see that it gets updated with that. So let's click the little menu, hamburger logo here. And yeah, it shows up here and it'll link to your new web page that you just created. Does anyone have any questions like right now? Or? Alright, yeah. So basically, this is a good way to add content. So in terms of like the Circle K website itself, we have basically a hierarchy of things. Let me log in to show this. So if we go over here to menus, this is basically, yeah, the structure of the website itself. So at the top you have your main options over here. So we have like an about us, events, shop. This is what you see at the topmost level. And if you hover over it, you'll see various options underneath. And these are called sub items. So yeah, it's pretty easy to like change things around. Like you can move board on top, but in this case, let's not do that. But what this shows is like it's pretty easy to drag and drop like certain customizable options. So going back to this itself, we could put GraphTech workshop underneath blog and make it more hierarchical. So then it's more organized in that sense. So if we go back to menu, there's a nice little drop-down option here, and you're able to click on the new blog post we wrote here. So that's just like one of the ways to customize your main page. You can also change the header up here. In this case, like you could add images, like whatever you want, basically. We could use this week's graphic, for example. Yeah, so basically when you upload files, you have a main media library on WordPress, and from here, you could link almost any photo attachment as like a background, for example, or you could put it as the background of an event. So in this case, let's use the one that we have here. Get the entire image, or skip cropping. So this is our nice little background that we've added as our header image. You can pretty much do this with any image you want. Yeah, this is like just for your main page. So yeah. We'll work with backgrounds as well. There's a lot of customizable options over here. So this is more to like change like the mood and feel of your web page itself. Yeah, like you could change the background default to a different color palette, or you could just use like whatever we had originally, like a plain white or basically any background color that you want. So I actually haven't worked with AMP before, but I believe AMP and mobile like show resolution on for example like your tablet or a phone. So these are some other things you can play around with, but I haven't had prior experience with this. You can also add in like a store. So basically. In this case, we have to add in a plan, but yeah, the UCLA Circle K website has the store based off of this WordPress feature. So then if we go to the store itself, this would be just like to add more customizability. In this case, we don't really want to do that, but sorry, wrong one. Anyways, yeah, like for the example itself, this is like when you want to like purchase like a domain, change it out and make it more customizable. Then you would work directly with this, but we don't necessarily want to have that right now. You get some statistics. This isn't necessarily as important. It's just like a way of seeing the traffic to your website. Yeah, this is just like more of an analytics thing, which could be nice to have, but not necessarily important. One of the most important things is like looking at your plugins. So it's over here on the left side for this particular theme itself. You could get more plugins from here. Download them. It's quite a bit of plugins. For the Circle K website itself, we have a lot actually. We go to plugins here. We could see the installed plugins we have. Yeah, so as I mentioned earlier, plugins are a nice way of adding functionality in without necessarily having to build it all yourself. There's a lot of WordPress developers who do this for a living. They create widgets and plugins, and other people could just download it and apply it to their website immediately. So in this case, the Circle K website itself has, for example, login and logout menu. This is a nice plugin that we have for user accounts. BuddyPress, which is what allows you to do messaging, creating member profiles, etc. So there's basically a lot of plugins you could use. Like you just search them up on Google and just like figure out like if you need something, there's probably a plugin for it or something that you could closely adapt. So let's see if we go here. Yeah, so like on the demo page itself, there's several plugins you could use, like email subscription, form builder, basically all of this stuff. So it's something that would be fun to play around with. You could easily add new plugins like on the side. This is for the Circle K website itself. If we just go here, we could see some of the ones we have right now. We could update BuddyPress, and it'll show compatibility, which is a nice thing because you don't necessarily want things to like break your website. So it'll usually give you like a percentage if it's like 100% compatible, 90%. Usually to be safe, I usually recommend just downloading whatever is completely 100% compatible with your version of WordPress, because you don't really want to necessarily like break anything. Like it'll be a pain, especially since you didn't write that software itself. So these are some of the featured plugins that we've already updated. You can add new ones. If you search plugins like popular, for example, these will give you like a list of plugins that are popular with WordPress developers, and you can see if you want to use it. Like, you can have a cache, which allows you to optimize performance by getting information more quickly. A lot of different plugins, like the contact form. We have one right now, but so we don't necessarily need this. This is just like, yeah, another like proof of concept. Like there's a lot of things you could add, like if you want, disable comments, etc. Plugins are, yeah, very widely available. So yeah, you can just look through this as well and try to play around with that. Yeah, so I guess we could like basically show how the Circle K website itself works. So if we go to the main page itself, let's update this because it's outdated. So you would go to dashboard, and you would look at the widgets because, like as we mentioned earlier, that's the main part of the page. So if you go here, appearance, widgets. Yeah, generally your widgets are going to be like your main page. So it should be. This one. So this is basically like how you would modify content for WordPress. Like you would have your widgets here, and then you could see the changes made directly to the page. If we do live preview, it's a nice little way of checking how the page looks itself. It's a little slow. Boom, this part just got updated because this is associated with like widgets and stuff. Some other things, if you want to edit some of the other stuff that aren't necessarily widgets like ours, you could go to edit page at the top. And then this will link to some of the content down here. So I'm going to edit page. Sorry, it's a little slow. Yeah, so basically what WordPress provides is this thing called Fusion Builder for the Circle K website. So you don't necessarily have to like write all of the code itself. Earlier we did see some basically HTML, but you don't have to do this because of all these builder elements you could provide. So if we click builder elements, you could add things like a blog, a text block, a title, etc. So just basically a proof of concept. Like we don't want to keep this on the page. Like just saying, like you see it like GraphTech workshop, and you would see this change reflected at the front page. So if we update on the right side over here, go back to the actual page itself, it should say GraphTech workshop. So this part got updated. Yeah, so it's basically this part up here. We could change the font, like the size of the text, the font as well. Make it a little bit bigger, bold it, italicize. Heading 1 because we want it to be very visible. Let's make it, no, that's not good. Basically, yeah, this is where you could update like a lot of the content easily without having to write code itself again. So let's go back here. So this part changed because yeah, we just edited that part, so we could get rid of it just as easily. So each builder element has 3 options. You could edit it with this little pencil icon. It's kind of hard to see, but yeah, this is where you would edit like the text, for example, since this is a text block. You could also have a duplication over here. So if you click this, it'll basically just create another instance of that. So this is like just a fast way of like creating new elements themselves. But we don't want these. The last icon is just trashing it. So like if you make a mistake, you could just easily trash it like here. So let's change it back because we didn't want all that content over there. Yeah, so in addition to builder elements, you might want to separate out your page in like a neat format. So this is where you could actually use column options, and this basically divides up your page such that you could put in different builder elements within these blocks and just more neatly organize them. So this is nice because you don't have to work with like too much like styling. Normally you would have to use like CSS and templates like Bootstrap, but this just abstracts it away from it all, and you can just like drag and drop directly here. So we could have, let's see, have table, or let's put 4 image frames and just put like random images. So we would just normally we would go to the pencil icon to edit it as before. We would select the image here. We could get, for example, the pot stickers image that we had earlier. Save that. Let's get another image. DCM and the social afterwards. This is all just proof of concept, like just show what column options could do. So basically, we've divided up the page into 4 different columns, and let's see how that looks. The template itself gives a pretty accurate estimate of how it's going to look, but if we go to the actual page itself, we'll see the actual result, how it'll look on the page itself. Yeah, so then it's added these 4 images directly to the top, like in 4 different columns, like as we've stated. The reason they're not the same size is because the original dimensions of them weren't the same. So I don't think there's an easy way to change it in WordPress. You could probably just go directly to the image source itself, change it using preview, and modify the dimensions like that. But it's up to you guys. So for example, if we're to change this image's dimensions, you would just go to Tools, Adjust Size, and you could change it directly through here. WordPress probably doesn't have an easy way to scale it, so then you would have to do it manually, which is unfortunate, but it's not too bad considering what the other advantages WordPress has to offer. So it's pretty nice. So let's get rid of these images because they're unnecessary. Delete. Yeah, so that's mostly what you could do on the front page. If you want to see the overarching design and styling stuff, this is all done in the actual theme itself. So if you go to Avada, which is the theme of the website, and theme options, this is where you could change the overarching characteristics of your website. So then you could check this for responsive design for mobile. You could change the typography, you could change the fonts here. So my sub-chair Ray is mostly handling this part because styling really takes a lot of time. But so I don't want to really touch this too much. But this is basically where you handle all the stuff that's normally covered through CSS. So yeah, you could change things like background here. We have a space gray background to suit our theme. We have our Circle K logo.
Sorry, are you guys a scheduled event? Did you book the room?
Yeah, we did.
Okay,
Yeah.
just checking.
Yeah. Thank you.
Have a good night.
You too. We could change, basically, this is basically where you could change a lot of the features of the background, stuff like that. This is more of a design and CSS part of the website itself. So there's a lot of features to play around with this, so I'm not going to go too much into detail here. You can update your social media links, which is nice. Styling, which is like background color. So our theme is more like emphasis like on grays currently. So that's why we have this as our main color for the background. And yeah, there's just like a bunch of options you could just try to play around with if you want. So yeah, that's most of this part. Are there any questions or? Time? All right, so 9:57. So if you guys are looking for more inspiration, so on the doc, we have, or I've listed some of the really cool looking WordPress websites. So these are some of the websites that WordPress themselves showcased because they were really nice looking. So yeah, we can look through some of these. Like, if you want inspiration on how to design your website itself, feel free to go through these showcased websites such as glad.com, Toyota Motors Brazil. There's like basically a bunch, so you could just like go through here and look for more inspiration, like to create your own personal website itself. So does anyone have any last questions or on anything that we've covered today? Or it's kind of a lot of information, but it just takes some time to digest, and then just feel free to play around with it. Like, WordPress is nice in the fact that like it's not like a super steep learning curve, but you just sort of have to like play around with stuff and know how to find it, and that's pretty common in a lot of different like web development itself. Like, you would have to just like figure out how to get used to the system, and just like once you know where each thing belongs, then it gets a lot easier to develop from there. All right, so if there are no more questions, we could hand it over to Mike for the second part of the workshop.
Okay, so
It's okay.